Did You Have to is a proud member of the But Why Though podcast community.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Did You Have to, the podcast where we look at live action adaptations of your favorite anime. As always, I'm Kate.
And I'm Nisha.
Oh fuck, do you go or do I go?
Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has.
I think
we're talking about Initial D today.
Yeah, let's do that. Sorry, guys. Oh, but before we do that, let's talk about anime.
Crunch time.
Crunch time. Do you want to go first?
So I'll go first because I watched something really, really cool. So I watched 5 centimeters per second on Crunchyroll today. Oh, we should probably say what crunch time is if this is somebody's first time listening to us. Mm-hmm. So Crunch Time is the part of the show where we talk about the things we watched on Crunchyroll since the last episode and make some recommendations. Yes. So mine is 5 centimeters per second. It is a very emotional, romantic, depressing, like 3-part series. It was directed by Makoto Shinkai, and it's... how do I explain it? Like, it goes in 3 different parts. It's Cherry Blossom, Cosmonaut, and then 5 centimeters per second. And then each part of those is a different part of a story. So it's set in Japan, and it starts in the 1990s, and then it goes until the present day. And each act is centered on a boy named Takaki. And it takes place during a time like when cell phones were uncommon, and then you get to see like him adjust like his lifetime over this and him dealing with stuff. And it's like a love story and a sad story. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to ruin it, because I definitely want people to go see it. But it's really touching. It's one of those Japanese movies like in the vein of Your Name where like you're just gonna bawl, and that's it. You're gonna cry. So get tissues.
Oh. I was just about to say, because I Googled it just to like have a reference. Like, did the same people who made Your Name make this?
I don't think they did.
Okay.
But because, and I think this is also comes from like me not being in Japan, like I don't really look at a lot of people's stuff, but I do know that let me pull them up real quick.
The only reason I asked is because when I Googled it, that one came up too.
Oh, actually is. Yeah, he's the director of Your Name. There we go.
I was
He worked on Your Name. Yeah, there we go. He worked on editing, photography, color, and design.
Nice.
And Your Name. So, yeah.
I might go ahead and watch it when I'm ready to have a cry.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really well done. And then just kind of something to keep. I don't know if it's going to be on Crunchy, but I went to go see, what was it? Where did we go? Oh, at the start of How to Train Your Dragon, we went to a place that does Fathom events. And there was a Fathom event for an anime movie called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. And I don't know what the hell it is. But
is it like,
it's weird.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's like a romance thing.
But is it about a girl who becomes a zombie?
Is it?
I'm going to Google it real quick because I think I read the manga.
Of course. I'm not surprised by this. This is why we're friends.
Yep.
Okay. So is that what it is? Is she a zombie? Is that why it's called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas? Because it was just crazy that we're in the middle of How to Train Your Dragon, and it says, it was like, come see, I want to eat your pancreas.
Oh. No, I can't tell from the poster. I know, but I don't think it is because it doesn't look like the characters from the manga. But
guess what? There's a live action of it.
Well, guess what we're going to be watching? Sold. And if she's a zombie, cool. I do want to know why it's called that. So I'm going to have to find that. Hope that's on Crunchyroll. Is it? We're going to find out. But I'm down. Anything that sounds creepy and there's a love story.
Exactly.
Wow. Nice. Or watch, it could just be like a cannibal. We could just like all be getting fooled. Like what? There's like this anime that looks like it's all fluffy and fun, and then it's actually murderous.
She's really just a serial killer who eats people.
I'm cool with that too. Oddly enough.
I mean, I am too.
Nice. Okay. This is why
People
we're
learn
friends.
so
we're
much about
co-hosts.
us on here.
Yeah, they're probably concerned, honestly. But no, that sounds good. I'll definitely check that out. Just because, like, I did love Your Name, so like, it made me like just really excited. Like, I haven't enjoyed an anime movie like that on that same level since like Hayao Miyazaki movies, like Spirited Away.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel you.
They're like a new aged one, so I like it.
And there's also this thing too that like I've had this. I don't know. I've been wanting more animation that's like really good. Not that like stuff is not good, but like I've been wanting more storytelling and like I don't know,
relatability.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Because I guess
I've also just been in. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Okay. No, I just mean when I say like relatability, I think I like that the characters are like grounded to a certain degree. Like with Your Name, the most supernatural thing is that they're able to switch back and forth between bodies and do all that. But like truthfully, it's like the issues they're dealing with is like, oh, the girl like has a really hard relationship with her father, and the boy is like he seems like the perfect student on the inside, but he's also dealing with his own crap. And then the story develops into something deeper along the way, and I think that's cool. I think I like that whole part about it, but then there's like a simple story of like it's about a boy and a girl trying to find each other.
Yeah.
And then you add in the element of the supernatural of like, oh, they can actually been able to switch bodies. I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen Your Name, but yeah.
Oh, it's so good though. Like, and it's subtle. It's also one of those reasons, and this is like not in the world of anime, but the K-drama While You Were Sleeping.
Yeah.
It's essentially about somebody who can see the future, but it's so like it's still grounded, even though she has the supernatural power, and other people around her start getting it too. Like it's something about animation or stories that have this element of fantasy to them but are still real that just kind of get at you,
like the way the characters react to the situations is real. Like that's, and I think that's what I mean by relatability too. It's just like, holy crap, they're freaking out about switching bodies, or like the characters' reactions to things like, oh, you have a crush. It's not some like how most anime does that whole like thing with love where it's like they drag it out. It's like, oh, we're just gonna say it and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that's also been one of the reasons why I've been having a hard because I love shoujo and I love watching, I love romance animes, but I guess I've just hidden, I don't know if it's because I'm like in pretty much married relationship that it's just kind of like, oh, why are you just like talking to each other about this? Y'all gonna kiss? Like, are you all having an adult relationship? You're working, like, come on.
But see, that goes to why we like Multikoi so much. Because they at least it's about actual adults dealing with relationships and they're nerds.
They find out they like each other when they're drunk. It's so good.
Yes. Like who hasn't confessed to a crush and be like, you know what, why don't you just date me? Or like how he just says like, well, I would play video games with you and I would mine like stuff for you, and I was
it was adorable.
It was the cutest.
And I think I've shared this on my other podcast too, but like the first time I told Matt I loved him, I got really drunk because I was super scared to do it. So it hit me in all my feels. But yeah, so what did you watch? What did you watch on Crunchy this past week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a while. My bad, guys. Kingdom Hearts came out, so it's my fault that this is out a little bit later than usual.
You did straight up send a message. Hey, I got Kingdom Hearts tonight. Can we push this?
Yeah, I did say like, can we please push so I can have at least like 4 nights so I can play constantly. And thank you for being an awesome co-host and understanding my needs.
It's okay. And then my life got crazy, and I was like, sorry, Nisha, I forgot that we have a podcast and we needed to record.
Nah, it's fine. They're good. Y'all are good, right? Yeah, they fine.
They're good. They're good. They love us.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, so what I watched, I finally finished Darling in the Franxx.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, have you seen it?
No, but I've heard of it, and I think I have it in my Crunchy queue.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read a brief synopsis. So, in the distant future, humanity established the mobile Fort City plantation upon ruined wasteland within the city where pilot quarters, I can't say that word, blah, 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 blah. Basically, you know what? A bunch of these names are hard to say. Just know that teenagers are flying Gundam-ish things. I'm probably doing a terrible job. Someone at me and give a better job, description. But it's the trope of like children being children soldiers to protect adults and listening to adults who do not have the children's best interest. So the kids are like following this leader. His name is, everyone calls him Papa. You find out, and this is like this isn't a spoiler, like all the adults have lost the ability to like their sexual organs do not work anymore. So they've lost the ability to procreate. So they're literally growing children to become soldiers. Now the way these robots work, they take a male and a female pilot. Now the position that the robots
is.
Yes.
Sorry. I get in a GIF in my head, and yep. Keep going.
No, it's just like, so the position, and I'm probably using the term wrong, but maybe I'm right. It's just like the female co-pilot is like taking back shots from the male pilot.
This is the GIF.
Yep, that is the GIF. That is the GIF. And it's just like, when I was watching it, I'm just like, I'm just going to finish this. And then as I continue to watch it, the female pilot takes on all the pain that is inflicted on the Franks. That's what the giant robots are called. So they feel all of the pilots have to work together. So compatibility is huge, and they fight these things called the Colossosaurs.
So it's like drift compatibility, but like okay.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. So like Pacific Rim, but
yeah,
lots of sexual innuendo, and they're children. Now, I'm not saying this is a terrible anime. It's just like those are the things that made me uncomfortable, because they're truly they have, like I say, children. They're probably all over the age of 14, maybe like they're on the cusp of 16.
Yeah,
but there's that, and there's the other part of it is that, so like society's kind of gotten past, like they've evolved to like not needing sexual relationships and like use of their sexual organs. So like the adults have given up that desire for themselves and everything. But the children still like are going through puberty and changing and learning about their bodies. And it's like some things are just like, oh, what do you mean? But like babies aren't had that way anymore. We don't, like, what do you mean? Like, so like to them, they know that like babies they don't know really what sex is. But then like things happen. Yeah. So it's like you just see these, like, it's like this bizarre thing of like, imagine if someone took some kids, dropped them in the middle of nowhere, gave them minimal supervision, and then like you bust in like this one girl, her name is 02. She's pretty awesome, but she's the one who's like the smartest one of them all. And just like, what are y'all talking about? This is what your bodies can do. But not like no one's having sex or anything. Well, they do later on, which is another problem. No, I'll just go watch and you go tell me how you feel. It's just like they don't they learn about all these things. It's like if you drop children off into a house to be by themselves and you did not teach them what sexual education was. Yeah.
All I'm thinking of is the 80s movie, The Blue Lagoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, there's good action and fighting and giant robots, but yeah, the
Franks look really cool, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, they look cool. They're modeled after the girls.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, that's like the one thing that kind of like I wanted to do a little research on it.
This is the one that has the girl in like the kind of like red Evangelion suit with like the little red horn things,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
02.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually want to watch this now because I'm like really curious.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting to watch because you definitely see like the psychological nature of the children who like they're going through puberty, they're going through emotional changes, and it's like everything they're feeling is almost frowned upon. because of like the society has basically said just listen to Papa, and like one day you'll be able to become adults. And it's that classic trope of like, let's use children soldiers to fight this dangerous evil. And
so the majority of anime.
Yeah, it really is. Every anime. Let's put the children at risk. It's okay. It's in capable hands. But at the same time, you're like, is anybody caring about these children and their well-being? And then they're also along the way learning how to take care of themselves and how to become independent. And like, so I definitely like those parts of it. It's just like you really get to see them grow into their own like persons too.
Okay.
But, yeah, and there's romance-ish. Yeah. So I'm done. I feel like I've done a terrible job of explaining it just because there's so much with this anime.
This is interesting because the first I saw this about this anime was just that gif of the person getting into the piloting position. Mm-hmm. I was like, what the hell even is this? And I thought it was a hentai for the longest time.
You think that it's like it is probably 2 degrees. It is 2 degrees from becoming hentai, and it is that close. Just because like when I first watched it, I'm just like, so you really had to design the robot for the girls to be bent over, and then the boys, like, it's literally a cockpit. Okay, sure, why not? Anime. And I'm just yeah. But also I think does a good job of explaining like consent, compatibility, not being forceful with your partner, like stuff like that is kind of like touched on, just like you have to be compatible with someone. Yeah, so
that's really interesting, actually. Okay.
Yeah, so I took things like that away from it. It's just like, okay, they really do have to work as a team together and talk and communicate. Like, there's even a part where like the girl's like, "Stop being so forceful," and like, and it's true. Like the boys have to be considerate of the girl's body. Like, the girls are putting their bodies and their mentality on the line. The boys do to some extent too.
Really compelling a little bit.
Yeah. Once you get past a few of the other parts.
yeah. Like, I'm guessing. So, is it like ecchi or like what? Do you know what the genre is?
Let's see. I mean, it's definitely mecha, sci-fi, romance, action. Like that's what it's tagged as. Like, there's elements of ecchi, but it's not like, I'm trying to think of like the most ecchi anime I can think of.
The one that comes to my head is My Girlfriend is a Show Bitch.
Maybe,
I don't know if you've ever seen that. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that's like that is the most hentai adjacent ecchi that I've ever seen. I didn't complete it. I didn't, but the title intrigued me.
Look, I've seen some stuff lately on the dark side of anime Twitter, which has like effed me up. So,
oh gosh,
that just clips. I'm just like, some of y'all need holy water. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not shaming anyone for their kinks. I have to learn how to like.
I'm not shaming y'all.
I'm not shaming y'all, but I'm gonna have to tell Kate like when we get off of here, because like what the clip that like popped up on my feed, I was just like, what? How did this end up here? God. I mean, I know I thirst, but I'm wholesome.
It's a wholesome thirst.
It's a wholesome thirst.
I just say I want to climb Big Nasty. That's it.
It's true though. Oh
gosh. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, guys. So let's get into Initial D.
Yes, Initial D. I picked this one because Nisha was grounded.
Yep. Am I done yet being punished?
You're done being punished. You can come out of the shame corner.
Yay.
So Initial D is a 2005 Hong Kong movie based off of the Japanese manga and anime of the same name. It's directed by Wai Kong Lu as Andrew Lau, or Wai Kong. Wait, God, apologies. I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Probably because I think Cantonese or Chinese names are usually the ones I'm like least familiar with because I don't take in as much of that media. But Wei Kong Lau, he's credited as Andrew Lau as well as Alan Mack. It stars Sean Yu as Takeshi Nakazato Edison Chen as Ryosuke Takahashi, and Jay Chou as our main guy, Takumi Fujiwara. As you can tell, they didn't change the names or anything really, setting or anything like that, to go with the Cantonese language that the film is in. I believe it's Cantonese, if Netflix isn't lying to me.
No, it has Cantonese and Chinese. I watched it, and I think the original one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's one of the two. And it was really interesting because I think this is the first movie that we've seen that was directed by another. It was still for an Asian audience, but from a different country than the original country. So it was really interesting to see what they did, because essentially everybody in the movie has Japanese names. All of from what I can understand, and I am not Japanese, and I don't know anything about it other than what I've consumed in popular culture. It looked like all of the writing was in Japanese, like on the store signs or at the gas station and stuff like that. But they just spoke in Cantonese and Mandarin, which was really interesting from that perspective, because they kept it pretty much as true to the source material in location and names, which was really interesting.
I agree.
And so the main thing is Initial D is if you follow Takumi after he wins his first drifting competition, and he focuses attention on drifting solely, and he is unknowingly perfected while just messing around on his dad's car, which is a Toyota AE86, which is important because it's like the shittiest car out of everybody that he's facing, and he just whoops everybody's butt because, unbeknownst to everybody in his friend group and his dad, while he's been delivering tofu, he's actually just been racing, I believe it's Mount Akina. He's been racing down Mount Akina by himself. Just and they show him in the film, like he'll have like his hand up against his cheek and just driving with one hand and drifting. Like it's a way for him to like decompress from like a super stressful day and a stressful life, because his dad's a drunk. His dad is not a good parent.
Abusive as hell.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's bad. But this is how he copes. So there are a lot of differences from the anime, but the main story is still the same. Essentially, one day the Red Suns show up, and the Red Suns is an unofficial racing group or an amateur racing group, and they want to race the king of Mount Akina, which is his friend, who just made up the name, and the guy can't drive at all.
At all. He is the most annoying.
It's so bad. Because the kid, his friend just gets kicked out of school and just like, I'm going to be the best racer. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm just like, oh boy, this was definitely an anime first.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like, I wish I had watched, I got through like 3 episodes of the anime, but I wish I had watched more to like get more of a sense of that character. Because I'm just like, are you this way? Like, why are you this way? You are terrible. Like, you are just a terrible child. And friend.
He's horrible. And he's drinking milk all the time, which is really weird. Like, I don't understand it.
Drinking milk and just the most spoiled. Like, your dad is very concerned about your safety, and he's just like, buy me this car. Buy me this car.
Exactly. Because his dad owns the gas station that they work at. Because Takumi has 2 jobs. He works at a gas station and he delivers tofu. Because somebody has to provide for their family because his dad isn't. Anyway, I mean, it's a really simple plot. I'm more interested in some of the pop culture stuff that has happened around it, in all honesty. But, I mean, this movie... It was made in 2005, but it feels like a 90s movie.
Thank you. Okay, so I was definitely going to say that, because when I saw the year it was made in, it just, all of it feels like it is like a snapshot of the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, and to put it in comparison, and this will come up later, Tokyo Drift came out in 2006.
Yeah. And that one...
Also in Japan.
Yes. And that's like kind of like my reference for like street racing in Japan, that all I had. like as far as like movies go. And I was just like, this one was made not too far away from this one, and it just looks like one looks so much more dated than the other one. Like, I don't know if it's just like how it was shot or what.
Yeah, so I think they so I don't know, because I couldn't find a lot on this, but I think a lot of it is because they were trying to keep true to the anime and or the manga. So the manga series ran from 1995 to 2013, and then the anime ran from 1998, and it actually it ended after 26 episodes, but then they have Initial D second stage, Initial D extra stage, Initial D third stage, Initial D fourth stage, Initial D extra stage 2, Initial D fifth stage, Initial D final stage, and then another 3 movies that are Initial D the movie, Legend 1 Awakening.
Wait,
New
the
Additional
anime
D
movies?
the movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant live action. I'm like, there was more than this.
Oh, no. Anime movies. Which is funny because so when you like look them up, so it's New Additional D the movie, Legend 1 Awakening, Legend 2 Racer, and Legend 3 Dream. You would think that they would have like way more updated animation styles, but they don't. They look like straight 90s anime, and if you're an anime fan, you know the differences between like 70s, 80s, 90s, and 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. The differences in anime style, the way faces are drawn, the way hair is drawn, but what's central to it is this 1984 Toyota AE86, which is what Takumi drives, and I think that because they were trying to be so true to the material, they had to center it around a time where, the Toyota is a crappy car in comparison to the GTR and the other stuff that the other guys are driving, but it still is within the same year model-wise. So I don't remember if in the movie they tell you what year it is, but I think that they're placing it in the same time period as the anime.
That would make sense then, because I don't think they ever mentioned what year it was, which would have been like, maybe it could have been like on like something like a sheet of paper or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like trying to think, did I see a cell phone? Like I
don't think I saw a cell phone.
Yeah, that's usually like that's how I date movies now. Like, did I see a cell phone or was it a flip phone? Okay, was the flip phone a Razor or was it something else, or was it a Nokia? Okay, we know what year it is or what year range. So yeah, that's interesting.
The other thing that's really cool in the movie too is that it utilizes pretty much an all English soundtrack.
Yes, it did, because there's like a good mixture of like hip hop, if I'm not mistaken. From what I remember, I feel like I watched this movie like last week. I watched a little bit of it over this week before we recorded, but like I noticed like a lot of like hip hop, and then like I'm trying to think pop-ish music.
Yeah. Like, I think it's like hip hop and then like pop infused with hip hop.
Yes.
Might be very beat driven music, I guess. If it wasn't hip hop, it was beat driven music.
Yeah.
But not like techno. It's weird.
And I was just like, I almost wanted to do like a search, like who are the artists behind this music? Because I'm like, well, it's in English, but like I have no idea who did this soundtrack.
Yeah. I know that the albums for the anime were really, really well, like they sold a lot and they were well received. And then I think I looked it up earlier, but the live action film's theme songs ended up selling, I think it was like over 1 million units. So like people loved this stuff, which is understandable. But so I'm speaking from actual experience here, because little known fact, Kate's been in a car multiple times when it's been drifting, because my cousin's husband is in fact an ex-street racer, so I got to know a lot of this. His favorite anime is Initial D, and my cousin was pretty much my sister for a long time, so I got to like bond with them that way.
Nice.
But within street culture, street racing culture, and especially within the drifting scene, obviously Initial D is like one of the cornerstones of pop culture for them. It's the same way that like Fast and the Furious 1 is. So it's really interesting. And if you don't know what drifting is, drifting originated in Japan in the, I think it's like mid 1970s. And essentially what happens is as you're approaching a corner, you overturn your wheel and it causes your back tires to lose traction. And so instead of turning with the curve of the road, you're actually skidding along the side of the road. And that's what gives it the smoke and the sound, makes it really dangerous, which was like one of the things in the movie, like the thing that sets Takumi apart from the other drivers is him just messing around delivering tofu leaves him to develop a technique where it's called like a gutter shot, where he essentially puts his tires in the gutter of the road. So think of like a really small section of non-road that he's able to control and get ahead of the other car. And the way they show it in the movie is actually really, really cool. Because it gives a close-up of the tire doing that. Super dangerous. But now drifting is everywhere. And essentially like it's one of the reasons why gearheads really liked the first few movies of Fast and the Furious, and like this is like titles like Drift King and stuff like that. That is an actual real thing in Japanese culture. So yeah. That was some knowledge that I don't think anybody knew that I had.
No, I think that's awesome. That like you firsthand knowledge of it. Because
it's also terrifying. It is so terrifying.
Oh no, I believe it.
Because you're like riding around in little. I don't know if it's a culturally appropriate term. I don't know, but like they're called racers in the street community because of the sound they make. And it's imported cars from Japan.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if I just know that that's what they call them.
Got it.
But they're cars that are built for drifting. So they're usually really, really light. They're really loud. In some aspects, and you can tell what type of racing a person does just based on how their car is, because in order to drift well, your car can't be super heavy. Like racing in general, your car can't be super heavy, but like drifting, you have to be able to control it. Like it takes more control to drift than it does to race at 120 miles down a straight shot, which is what most street racing is.
But it's like, my only experience that comes close to drifting is because we get snow here. And we have ice. And black ice is not fun, but that's
terrifying.
Drifting to me is extremely terrifying. Because I've seen people like take a turn on ice and like, nope, you did too fast, and then you see them like spin out and like, I told you did it too fast. It's terrifying.
That is so terrifying.
It is. Like I had a friend, like we were in high school, and she wanted to try drifting, and I was dumb enough to like, yeah, let's try it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. We didn't know we were doing. We were in like the school parking lot after we came back from like a basketball game, and we're just like, yeah, let's try it. And then we realized we don't know what we're doing. We can go home now.
That's so funny.
I'm like, we're lucky we didn't wrap the car around a light pole. Like,
yeah.
Like I think back on like stuff like that. Like, damn, that was dumb. But like, thank God we didn't know what we were doing.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
yeah, at least
yours
you were
sounds
like
more
a
legit.
Controlled environment.
Huh?
Yeah, it was still. So at least you were in a controlled environment.
True.
I never did that because I was like, my mom ended up giving me their like broke down like Kia Sorento to drive. Like it had no working AC or anything, but I needed to get to work.
Oh
so my
God,
ass
Kate.
wasn't drifting that. Wait, did you drive a Kia Sorento?
I drove a Kia Sophia.
Ah!
And it also was busted down in the air condition. This is why we're soulmates. Oh my God.
Oh, at least you live in Chicago. I was going in a Texas summer to go drive to goddamn GameStop and sweating my ass off.
Okay, we get summer here too, and winter. I didn't have heat.
Oh God.
And the doors, okay, and the locks froze one year. And
you had it worse.
Yeah. that car. Oh my God, it got me through a lot.
I'm in Texas. I forget that anybody else gets summer.
Yeah, I know. It's
you
fine.
Get winter. I just assume you just get winter.
We get all the seasons. They're just like 2 months behind each other. It's weird. We don't get spring until June.
That's so weird.
It's global warming is what it is. But sorry, guys, we're getting off track.
But Nisha, how can we have global warming? We just had a polar vortex.
I don't know. Like, and all that ice and everything, it's not like it could have been dangerous to anybody who was homeless and didn't have a place to go. Thank goodness that we know that global warming is not real. We're gonna pause right there. And just wait till hurricane season.
That a little bit.
God.
Oof. Yeah, Houston.
I hate this fucking administration.
Oh yeah, I love going to Houston. I will never live there because
I don't blame you. I have friends in Houston, and like my first reaction when everything happened was just like, "Are you okay? Please tell me you're okay." And oh God! But then I realized, oh, y'all are nowhere near anything. Y'all are fine. Like they were in a good area, but I was just like, oh God.
Yeah, but still, it's the first thing that goes to your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, back on drifting. Yep. Initial D, the anime, is actually what's credited with spreading drifting to everybody, to more outside of Japan, and really making it ingrained within the overall culture of Japan. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't just a manga and an anime; they actually have a giant series of arcade games. There's was it 1, 2, 3, 4? I have notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ooh, that was a burp. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. They have 24 video games. The majority of those games are arcade games, which I've played Initial D arcade games a whole bunch. And the cool thing with arcade games is I've played old ass Time Crisis 2 from the late 80s, early 90s, and it's still in a Dave & Buster's today because you don't have to change out arcade cabinets that much. And so you can go places and still find Initial D cabinets. And then in Japan, they actually have replicas of Takumi's car that they put up with to a screen, and you can actually play in the car.
That's cool.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it's Initial D, and one of the reasons that I kind of really wanted to do it was, or this has been on my mind for a while, is it's not that great of a movie. If we get into how it's shot and stuff, there's a lot of weird, I'm gonna take 5 pictures and now that's a shot of weird camera still things, and weird slow-mos, and it's not terribly great. But if you watch it, you can easily see how much this type of anime and this type of street culture influenced Hollywood, and influenced the Fast and the Furious series in and of itself. A lot of people, and I was trying to find if there have been actual people, not just Reddit forums, but there are a lot of Reddit forums and a lot of car guys who are yeah, I love Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, but I love it because it's essentially an updated Initial D. It's literally Initial D.
True.
Minus the abusive dad, because that guy in Tokyo Drift, his dad was actually nice and was son, please stop being a dick, I don't want you to go to jail.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. His dad at least tried.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, because where Initial D is what kind of brought this to everybody and solidified it, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is what really brought it to the U.S. in a different type of way. So brought it outside of this, outside of otaku culture, or even deep street culture, and brought it to a larger audience because you could go into a theater and watch it, and it brought a lot of people to oh, I know what drifting is now. And I'm assuming what probably led your friend to make you all drift in your high school parking lot.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I mean, granted, we knew of it before, before we experienced that, because I think 2000, I graduated 2010, 2008. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been around the time when we were trying to drift.
And just to say it here, my hottest Fast and Furious take, Tokyo Drift is the best one out of all of them. I don't care what you think. You can at me.
I love you for who you are. And I also am not... I'm also not, like, the biggest Fast and Furious fan.
Yeah.
I think this is where we diverge a little bit, soulmate.
I like 1 and 3. I don't like the new one so much. Like, I'll watch them if they're on, but, like, I like the... So
okay, then we can agree there. I like 1.
Yeah, like, when Matt's parents came in, they stayed with us for Christmas, and we all just watched the first 3 Fast and the Furious movies as a family. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Because, like, Matt's dad and brothers are all car guys. Like, his dad is rebuilding a Chevelle from, like, the bottom up, or from the chassis up, I guess is probably the better reference. And so, like, they're like, what are we gonna do? We don't really have anything. Well, I'm gonna put on something on Netflix. Let's watch Fast and the Furious, which led us to watching the first 3.
It's better than ours. I mean, my family, we watched What Happened to Monday and Bird Box.
Ooh, those are both really good movies, though.
Thanks. Yeah, but like watching the sex scenes with my grandmother was fun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably should have gone with Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
But no, okay, yeah. So like when it comes to Fast and Furious, I definitely just got tired of how convoluted the plots have become, and like after a certain point, it's like family Corona, a big heist. But I do want to go see Hobbs and Shaw. So,
that's just because there's a lot of sexy men in that movie.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it was Charles, or no, it was someone else on Twitter. They added me. They're just like, I want to see it because this is essentially Dragon Ball Super Broly in real life.
Oh my god!
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell us we're wrong. You got a super powered Idris Elba, who's like a superhuman strength. You got 2 strong ass men, one slightly smaller than the other one, and they both have different styles of fighting and handling shit. And they have to work together.
I like this.
Right? And I'm like, oh.
I like this.
Yes, I will go see this movie with 3 hot men and fighting and trying to save the world. Because as much as I'm not a big fan about all of the Fast and Furious, I do like a big action plot movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it because they sexy.
That too. That helps. This is why my pitch for a movie with Florian Munteanu, Winston Duke, and Jason Momoa would work. This is exactly why it would work. But I have to write it because everyone keeps telling me to stop pitching things on Twitter. So it might never happen. I got yelled at. Carolyn, shout out to my other co-host. She was just like, take that tweet down and write it already. Love you. It's still up.
Oh, it would be so good though.
Thank you.
It's funny because I actually think Jason Statham's like the smallest man in that movie.
Right? But I think he's not that short.
He's like 5'11".
Okay, he's not that short. But compared to The Rock,
he's
that's
average height.
Yeah.
Compared to like 6'4"?
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah.
Rock's a big boy.
I just like how, which makes him the perfect Vegeta.
Yes.
Makes him the perfect Vegeta. I consider Vegeta to have a British-esque accent from like the old anime.
Oh, no, that's perfect. Oh god, Jason Statham is okay, I'm thinking about like all the roles that Jason Statham has had. He's totally fucking Vegeta.
Yep. It's all come together.
And he has a nice butt too. So
hey, we'll give a shout out to the first person to take Dragon Ball Super Broly and Photoshop those 3 men's faces onto those characters.
Oh my god, yes, please do. Do it. Do it and add us at DYHD_pod.
Thank you. Please do.
You will be doing a great service for your nation by doing that.
And us.
Thank you.
Okay, we have to get back to talking about Initial D. Sorry, guys, we have diverged.
Initial D.
But that's cool, though. About the whole,
can talk about Initial D now.
Okay. I said you're the expert because this movie was a bit of a struggle for me, and I think it's mainly because, but it is mainly because of like what you said about how it's shot. Just like, I think that's what I struggled with the most. The story is pretty simple. That's why I did like the story. But in regards to, what is it? I found it interesting that, like, so I'll give some budget facts about it. So the budget was $12 million, and the box office, they made just a little bit over 10 million, and that's in US. So
okay,
like what the exchange rate is on that. So they came under a little bit, and I thought that was interesting because, like, essentially they made the same kind of movie at Fast and Furious would make, like Tokyo Drift, but they did it under, like, I think that's like a smaller budget than what, Tokyo Drift took. So I found that interesting.
It definitely was.
Yeah, so I think
it's definitely a smaller budget.
Yeah, so I'm like, I thought it was like, wow, that's interesting, because I think they did a lot with that budget. Like, I don't think anything like went to waste. The characters, I'm kind of got tired of. It's Itsuki. Hold on, I have his list up. He's the spoiled son of the gas station owner.
Yeah, I hate that dude so much. I got
so tired of all the gay jokes.
Yeah, those don't age well at all.
Never.
Because, like, so one of the things, whenever it comes to, like, homophobic jokes or even racist jokes, if the character is a piece of shit and the character is making those, I'll give it a pass because those are put in there to make that character be a piece of shit, right?
True.
So that's fine. You're trying to get us to hate them. You're trying to show us how bad they are. But when literally every character you have is making them, I'm just like, oh,
it did not age well in that regard. It doesn't
age well.
Like, it was bad. And then it was like stuff like, I'm like, oh, he's wearing a bandana at night, he must be gay. I'm like, dude, shit. Like, that's how, like, irritated I was getting. It was just like he was just calling everyone gay that, like, challenged him or, like, didn't acknowledge him as, like, the racing god. I guess I'm kind of just, like, getting into characters now.
Oh, no, do it. Get into them.
Yeah, so, like, that was kind of my take. And then the dude with the dreads. I have questions about those dreads. I just... Yeah.
I do. So, I get it. This is probably going to be another tangent, but I genuinely do have questions about, like... Because, like, obviously, I'm not black. But I'm curious as to how you feel about, like... Because I've seen some conversations on Twitter in general... talking about, like, black or Asian or Japanese specifically appreciation of black hair and trying to, like, wear it and so, like, I've never known, like, it's always just been a situation that's, or a thing that's intrigued me, because, like, it's different. It's one of those things, like, how do these things go culturally and how do we look at them from the lens of that culture versus ours?
No, for sure. So, like, no, I definitely, like, so this has been something I've thought about too, because, like, we also kind of posed a question to people, like, oh, we'd like to have, like, more discussions, like, anime related discussions. So, like, that is something I've noticed in some anime and live action is just, like, the styling of black hair and then kind of the appropriation of it. Because it's like appropriation and appreciation are so...
It's a super fine ass line.
Yes. And that's where it's hard.
Super fine line.
That's where it's hard sometimes when it comes to when we're talking about characters and not, like, people. Like, I know there's a video of, like, this barber manipulated, there in Japan, he manipulated a guy's hair so he had, like, kinky curly hair, like black hair.
Yeah.
So that he could give him a fade. And I was just like, I don't, like, and it's weird because, like, part of me is like, I get bothered when people, like, appropriate hairstyles and culture, like, in slang, and then, like, they're doing it mockingly, where it's like, then there's people who just, like appreciate the style of something, so then they get that style. But it's also, I think it comes back to, like, what is their attitude towards that group that style has originated with, because Japanese culture definitely has a colorism issues of their own. I'm not saying that as a whole, like, for everyone, but, like, that's totally a thing. Like, the commercials they've had featuring black people in them, they've made fun of them. And, like, there's, like, the one commercial where she puts a black guy in a washer, puts, like, bleach or something in there, and then, like, a hot Asian dude pops out.
Yeah.
So it's, like, with, like, smooth hair and, like, all this stuff. So it's, like, that's something that kind of, like, bothers me, because that's something that's, like, like they put it in an actual ad campaign, and that's happened in multiple campaigns where they use a black person as an example, like as a bad thing, and then like pops out a like perfectly fair skinned person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the like mostly for me when I watched it, I was just like, this wig is terrible. Because all you have is...
it was a terrible ass wig.
It was a terrible wig.
That giant bandana?
To hide it?
Giant bandana's...
I was just like waiting for it to fall off.
That was not like the back of his head must have been a goddamn egg with how high that shit was.
It had to be, because I was just thinking like, those locks are too big. Whoever did this character's design, I wish you had used some kind of reference and like at least made them look somewhat more natural. Because it's not to say that people can't get locks. Like, that is a hairstyle that people can get. But they gonna look pretty fucking terrible. Like, both my sisters have locks. both of my sisters have locks, and if you don't take care of them, they're not supposed to be that fat unless you ask them to be that fat.
So, like, my mom has totally made the joke about, like, white women, or actually anybody who's, like, not Mexican, like, really, like, appropriating, like, chola style. And she's like, if you're gonna do that, at least try to look good.
Yes. That is really it. Like, just make sure they're done well. I think that's my concern. Like, make sure it's done right and well. It's like, when I've seen people get box braids, I'm like, nothing against you getting box braids. Like, and, you know, like, it's somebody on Twitter just trying like, white girls can do it too. I'm like, yeah, you can, but just make sure they done well, because or else all your hair is gonna fall out. Like, if you're gonna do it, at least do it right. But I'm like, I don't try to like get into that whole like, oh look, we can do it better, and I'm just like, y'all are just doing this for reactions. But then it's like, what my issue is when it comes to appropriation, it's like the Kim Kardashian or the Kylie Kardashian thing, where it's like, look at this new style I came up with, and like, those are boxer braids. You did not come up with anything. Like, when
fucking Kylie and along the same vein, the Jenner girls, the freaking, they made fucking chola style happen again. And I'm like, really?
Like, that is the perfect example, like, where it's appreciation and appropriation. So that character could totally just like, I like locks, I like dreads, I'm gonna get some dreads. Sure, dude, they look terrible on you because they don't look, they're done right. But that, I'm gonna blame that on the bad wig. Whereas, like, when someone like the Kardashians have done it as like, look at these new hairstyle, I'm like, that's not new. That's actually something that's been done for ages. That is appropriation. You're trying to resell something that's already been done by people. You could have just gotten them and not said anything. And also, when black girls do it, we're perceived as ghetto.
Yeah.
So it's like, y'all are perceived as street and edgy and stylish and urban, and then we're perceived as uneducated and like ghetto. And I'm like, but even though like that's not true, obviously, like we can have braids and not be perceived
it's
that
just
way.
It's the fact that, and I think this is like the largest piece in the appropriation debate, is like, do you wear them understanding and respecting what happens to the people that also that comes from, right? Like, it's like, are you just wearing it and forgetting about all that stuff and removing it from that because you have the privilege to do that?
Yeah.
Or because like Kylie Jenner wearing chola fashion and an actual chola wearing that, the chola is probably going to get pulled over, and
exactly,
you know,
and like, would I get a job interview going into a job interview with boxer braids? Not unless they're done a certain way. It's the same thing with like the locks.
No, I mean. Yeah, I mean, it's the same way that, like, it was, in my opinion, extremely freaking revolutionary to see Ocasio-Cortez to be on the freaking floor, to be a congresswoman wearing hoops and red-ass lipstick. Like, that is amazing.
She's awesome.
She's a brown woman, she's a Latina, looking like a Latina, wearing Latina, culture on her, and I'm like, girl, this is amazing. As somebody who wears bold lipstick and is terrified to wear it to jobs,
yes,
thank you.
Yes, I feel that.
So we've had a whole discussion, but I would be interested if anybody who's listening to us is of another culture living in Japan, or of a different race living in Japan. I would like to know like their perspective on it, because I don't know the demographics of Japan. For sure. I
would be interested in knowing that. I mean, all I know is from like the light little bit of research I've done, where it's like, someone who like, I like follow like Blavity, Afropunk, like different publications that have like kind of touched on this kind of subject. And it's like, and this is like more of like a worldwide focus on it, where it's like cultures around the world, like, and I don't think it's just like Black culture that like has been picked up around other cultures, but it is something where it's like you notice that certain things, like it's like a trend, like a trend that like is like started off in the Black community, like woo child. Like, like, and like most people like know what Wu Child is, and that's kind of like a regional thing, but also like a cultural thing. Like when I say Wu Child, and then like Wu Chile, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
But like there's different degrees of it where it's like, you know, people might appreciate a culture and pick it up, but then there's that fine line of it. So I would be interested in knowing like anyone who's like in Japan and if they observed anything like that too. Like, what are their feelings on it? Oh
yeah, definitely. See, we're having thought-provoking conversations on this podcast, Nisha.
I know. We got to like finish this one discussion first. Oh, we'll have time for like more thought-provoking discussions.
No, I think this is really good though, because I think you're right in that like there have definitely been this guy isn't the first guy with locks that we've seen in a live action. Mm-hmm.
True.
We've seen like what, one or two before, right?
I think so, yeah. Especially in, was it Fullmetal Alchemist?
Right?
And Gintama.
Yeah, Fullmetal Alchemist and Gintama. Both of those had. So it'd be really interesting. I'm interested to know like the cultural side from it, from like either a Japanese perspective or like you know, somebody who is Black living in Japan and like seeing that side of it. Because I'm always just because, and a lot of it has to do with like I'm Mexican American, which means I'm fully American to anybody who is Mexican from Mexico. Like my family, my grandmother's family did not immigrate here. Like she was born on Texas land. We're indigenous to this land. So there's a lot of things that I look at that happens in like Mexican culture from Mexico. And I'm like, this is fucked up. Or I mean, not fucked up, but like this is different and not right and not what I see Mexican to be. And so I always have to remind myself like, okay, I got to put myself in the headspace of like, this is Mexican culture coming from Mexico. So it's a different thing. And if it's something fucked up, it doesn't make it any less fucked up. But I'm always interested to learn like, what is the difference there, right? Because like essentially somebody like colorism in Mexico is a lot different than colorism in the States, like from a Latin community in the States. It's like heightened to the like 100th degree in Mexico, where like somebody who is my color, who's mestiza or like indigenous presenting, like that type, like just being that dark, which isn't that dark at all. It isn't that dark at all. Is seen as a worker or less than, because the people with the most Spanish blood come out whiter, so they have a different thing. So like me and my mom being the only dark, you know, and it's like everybody in our family called us morenas, like the dark women, because we came out brown or noticeably brown. So it long way to say, I always value perspectives from somebody living in those communities, and I try to do really hard to check my like my Americanness.
Oh, for sure. Same here. Like, that's what my whole thing is, too, about, like, it's, like, I feel a way about this character who has locks, because locks originated with, you know, from what I know, a majority is, like, African-American culture. Like,
oh, hell yeah.
There's a style. Like, and this isn't like one of those things, because I feel like people are quick to argue, like, well, what about straight hair? And what about Black girls who get extensions?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, my hair can get straight too.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. No culture has ever owned straight hair. Like, that's not a thing. Like, they're manipulating your hair to do something. And like that being a style, like that's something that came from a culture. Like, that's my point.
Exactly.
Like, I can wear extensions, I can wear wigs, I can braid my hair, I can do whatever I want with my hair, just like anybody else can. Yeah. But however, what is the intention behind it? And then are you also being a dick to the culture that it's from? Is usually is where I have an issue with it. Because there's too many people who like Black culture and other cultures, but they're racist or prejudiced.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's 100%. Where appropriation, appreciation, like, skews. Like, you can like the culture, but you don't hate the people. That's messed up.
You know, like the people who don't want tequila to leave, but want to build a wall.
Yeah. Or they want the avocados. They want the avocados.
God.
But they want to go down there. They want to go down there for spring break and shout, build a wall. Yeah, I remember that happened. So yeah, let's talk about a few other characters. So what's her name? The girl Natsuki. Am I saying that right?
Natsuki Moji? Yeah.
Yeah. So she plays the love interest of Takumi. Like, what did you feel about her?
I thought that it didn't need to happen.
Okay, thank you. It felt very awkward and weird.
It's been years since I watched the anime. I did at one point watch all the anime and some of the newly released movies. But I'm pretty sure there's really no love interest. Like, it's pretty much just dudes in their cars. So
from the first 3 that I watched, I think that the girl who's like interested in him, there's like a little bit of a love interest there.
Yeah.
I don't know how true to like the anime that this character is to that girl. I guess I would have to go and finish the anime.
Don't do it.
To find out.
That's some old ass animation.
Thank you. Okay, that was going to be hard. That's why I stopped after 3 episodes. I got tired.
Yeah.
I can go to sleep to it.
And then like some of the later ones actually have CG cars. So like they're anime cars, but then when they race their CG cars, it looks weird.
Oh my eyes! No,
it gets worse.
That's like the speed. That's like that Speed Racer reboot, or like the Hot Wheels. Like there's always been a Hot Wheels show.
Yeah, I remember those shows.
It hurt my eyes to watch it, so I was just like, "Well, this isn't for me."
Yeah,
and I'm tired. Yeah. So with her, yeah, it definitely didn't need to happen. I know it was there to kind of like give Takumi more character development.
Yeah,
but I really
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just feel like it wasn't necessary, and then like the whole reveal at the end.
Yeah,
like I feel a way about it. Like it's not okay. So like, huh?
Say the ways.
So it's not. So like the beat, like basically a C plot of the movie is that you find out Natsuki is like basically she has a sugar daddy, and like he's like yeah, and like she's a high school student, but then like we also know like with Japan they have what is the age of consent, 16?
Yeah, it's really young.
Yeah, as we know from our Sailor Moon research and all of that, and that's why that's also weird. But this isn't. We're talking about like a real life character, like
yes,
it happening in real life. I don't think we ever see the sugar daddy, like his face, and I wonder if that was done purposely.
I think we do. Yeah, that might have been one of the things to make it weirder because I think you actually see him in the show. I think.
Yeah, and I thought with that, like, okay, it's kind because like the whole time I thought like, oh, who is the sugar daddy going to be? I thought it was going to be some huge reveal that he was like somebody. Like maybe he was a boss or some racer or like a gang leader, like something like that was connected. And it never like got to that point. But then at the end, I think like she tells him that they can't see each other anymore. And like as they were leaving, like she was breaking things off, he hugged her and then he leaves, but then Takumi sees and then he runs away. And I was just like... That's where I was kind of like, oh no, and before all that, Itsuki, the spoiled brat of the gas station owner, he's like calling her a prostitute. And I was just like, okay, this is where I have problems. This is where like it's stemming from.
Yep.
Because there's like a whole bunch going on. But there's stuff with like Natsuki that we don't get about her character that's going on. Like,
yeah, I also think like the way that she was really empathetic to the abuse that Takumi was going through. I think there has to be something along the lines with that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So I feel like there was more to that character that she didn't get her justice. So then she's just written off and deemed as like a prostitute in the end.
Yeah.
And then just like cast away. And I'm just like, that's really not fair to her. Because like, and I'm not condoning like, what's the word? Statutory rape.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning that. If for all we know, it was purely like one of those sugar daddy situations where like he gave her money to spend time with him and go on dates, which that is its own thing. and she did what she had to do to take care of her and her mom. I'm not condoning statutory, and again, I'm saying I'm not condoning statutory rape, and I'm not condoning underage dating or like all that stuff. I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying I don't think we got enough of like her character was painted as like went from like being a love interest to being like, oh, she's a whore.
Yeah.
And then like not giving her like the same understanding and empathy that she gave him.
Yeah.
Like, she's truly a plot device, and that's kind of like, I think that's what, like, she turned out to just be a plot device at the end to, like, motivate him to go and become a street racer.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right on all of that.
Yeah, like, that was, like, a long-winded thing, and she's such a minor character that I didn't think I would have that many thoughts about her, but, like, that was, like, my biggest, like, issues with it, is just, like, you take this character, she's a love interest, and then you write her off as, like, she's a prostitute and dirty, and, like, that's it. We're done with her now, instead of like she gave him empathy and like was empathetic and understanding of like what he went through and supportive of him. But it's like when the tables are turned, it's just like, oh nope, don't want you no more.
Yeah,
bye bitch.
Yep,
like,
that's accurate.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, so I get that we're supposed to feel sorry for Takumi, but I'm like, I don't really feel sorry for Takumi because he didn't even bother to try to understand what was going on.
Yeah, we're feeling sorry for Takumi at the expense of Natsuki, and it's after Natsuki has been like a freaking emotional rock for him.
Exactly. That just left a bad taste in my mouth of how that ended in the movie. I was just like, okay,
yeah.
Sure. That's how it can end. And then just like a little bit more about Takumi. I'm sorry, did you have anything you want to say about Natsuki?
No, go ahead. You hit that right on the head perfectly. So no, I have nothing else to say.
Okay. So yeah, I like Takumi up until like the ending, the latter half of the movie. Because like I like the whole like he's not even trying whole thing about his character. Like he wasn't even trying that hard to be good. He just like he naturally became good over like the course of like 5 years of driving his dad's car. And he just didn't care about racing that much until like he started to care.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can like this kind of like passive leading character because he just seems like he's not that interested.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Yeah. And it's like it's totally anime where he's passively not. I think that's why I liked it. It's like a very anime-esque where it's like he's not interested in it at all, but he's perfect at it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like he's just like he could care less about doing it, but he does it and he's flawless and the best racer ever.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things too, because like you see it in the beginning when he's talking to the shitty dude, and the guy, he's just like, oh, how the guy's explaining how to drift to him, and he's just like, what? You don't do that. You accelerate through the turns. And he was like, no, you would fall off the mountain. And instead of like fighting with him, Takumi's just like, meh, okay.
Yeah. He's just like the most passive personality. He doesn't, like, when you were watching it, he doesn't stick out from the cast. He's just very plain looking. He doesn't look very, like, he doesn't grab your attention. Like, in most anime where, like, the main character has something that sets him apart. As far as, like, maybe it's his personality, maybe it's the way he behaves, but, his like, hair. He does not have that. His hair, in true anime form, it's usually the hair. Looking at you, Goku. Well, and everybody in Dragon Ball Z. Oh, man. I think that was really pretty much it. Like, the other characters are really just, like, the other racers who, honestly, I got confused of, like, because some characters just kept popping back up. Yeah. And I'm just like, what is your name again? Like, who are you? Why are you important? It's just, like, it's a bunch of races that happen.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, that's the thing. I wish that it had the little like subplot of romance. I mean, I think they did it so we could understand what was happening at home with him. But at the end of the day, like, you just show us the races. That's all it is. Yeah.
I mean, I think I would have preferred more focus on that, but yeah, sure, romance that really ended tragically for the girl.
Yeah. But I think the other cool thing. I found out what that pop thing that we were talking about. It's called Eurobeat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that means it's like some European pop techno type thing. Yeah, Eurobeat.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, Eurobeat tracks were originally developed for the anime series and the film, as well as rap and hip hop.
Interesting. I'm trying to think of what that would be today. Like, what's the equivalent? Let's Google. What is Eurobeat today look like?
All I keep thinking about is Tokyo Drift from the Teriyaki Boys. I love that so much.
Oh, there's like so much stuff. No one looks familiar to me on this list.
Dance pop, Euro disco, high NRG, Italo disco, dance rock. House is probably the closest thing that you can think of.
I mean, maybe like Skrillex house or like old school house, because I'm in Chicago. Like house in Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here, actually, if you look up Eurobeat, Initial D is here.
I see it.
Yeah, so it says, meanwhile, in Japan in 1985, the term Eurobeat was applied to continental European dance music imports. And then if you go all the way down, it says, the anime series Initial D, based on the manga by Shuichi Shigeno, uses Eurobeat music regularly in its episodes during racing scenes between the characters. And because of this, it has come to the attention of some anime fans outside of Japan. And we tie it all together.
There it is. Well, do you have anything else we want to say about the movie? Before we get into ratings?
That fun fact is that, hold on, I just had it. Where was it? Keiichi Tsuchiya was a stunt coordinator and stuntman in Initial D, but also for Fast and the Furious.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense.
So in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, specifically, he's a professional race car driver. So he was a consultant on both. He is actually known as the Drift King.
Okay.
So, and he was active from like 1994 to like 2000. So they had somebody who knew their stuff. But I also think that lends heavily to the fact that Tokyo Drift is just Initial D.
It truly... Okay, that was going to be like one of my closing... Yeah.
The big Yakuza plot line.
Yeah. Shoot. Like most American studio movies that take place in Japan, they always bring in the Yakuza.
And sometimes put Jared Leto in it. Or Jared Leto in it.
Wait. Oh my god, dang it, that movie did happen, didn't it? Kate, I pushed it out of my brain.
I push most things with that bad out of my brain.
Kate. Now it's back. I never watched it, and I never will, probably. Like, damn it. Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome.
I deserve it. I gave you Promised Neverland. This is just payback.
It's so good, though. This is not good.
You're welcome. No, it's not. No, but like to your point, like that's what I was gonna say, because like Initial D. Okay, so let's get into like, did they have to? And then I'll like that kind of like rolls into this. So what do you think they had to?
I think they had to. I think that this movie doesn't age well. It's a movie of its time. Actually, it's not even a movie of its time. It's a movie of 10 years before the time the movie was made.
Yes.
If we're being honest. That being said, I think for knowing the impacts and just like what we've recounted here, the impact it had on car culture and the impact it had on street racing, both in the States, in Japan, and pretty much everywhere else. I do think they did have to, and they had to in a way that they were. It was perfect to adapt, I guess. Like you have a franchise that has a lot of anime, a lot of games, a lot of manga. Why not put it to live action when it's such a simple premise and there's nothing crazy going on? It's highlighting a large part of what has become Japanese street culture. So I think in that in that vein, it had to. It's by no means a good movie, but if you're into cars and stuff, I think that this was necessary. I don't think we'd have like obviously Tokyo Drift without this movie, and I love Tokyo Drift, so.
Agreed. And that's kind of like, that's my closing. So yes, I do agree. I think they had to, because it's just like the vast library of content that it has. It makes sense for the natural progression for this to be a movie. Like, it makes sense that this would go into live action. And I do agree also that like it contributes to just like the like drift culture being introduced to American culture, like with racing. And like, and in movies and Hollywood and all that, like that, like it is like basically the genesis of it.
Yeah.
When it comes, like, as far as like we know, like from media.
Yeah.
Because like before that, I knew about Tokyo Drift. I didn't know about drifting before Tokyo Drift, but like now seeing this, how this predates Tokyo Drift, and like the anime surely predates it and everything in the manga. Like this is totally like the introduction of drift culture to like more like beyond its reach in Japan to like other people, and influencing movies and film and video games. So like I think like just like the amount of influence it has, and like you're right, without this movie there probably wouldn't have been a Tokyo Drift. Like even though like in the weird Fast and Furious timeline universe, Tokyo Drift has been written out and doesn't exist. I'm sorry, I had to mess with you because Bow Wow and that movie, I'm not going to go down that path. It's fine.
I mean,
you love it, so I love it.
I'm like, you just going to hurt my heart with Han. Han deserved better.
Han deserved better, and that was pretty much my issue. Is just like, Han deserved a lot better than this. And
well, that's the thing. Like, this Tokyo Drift sits apart from everything else, and it actually frustrates me because there's a very live culture of drifters in the U.S., and I don't think that, like, I mean, granted, after this one is when like all of Fast and Furious goes off the rails, so I guess I can't be too frustrated.
That's true. And I think, which I guess what I was going to add is like, I think had this movie been more successful, it totally would have been the Fast and Furious. It would have had the same, maybe would have had the same power that Fast and Furious has. I don't know if it's just like there wasn't a market for it at the time, or maybe like it just wasn't well received, and it doesn't age the best in like the way it was shot. So like maybe if it was given a bigger budget, but I think Initial D had the potential to have 50-11 movies like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and I think too, I mean, there are like shit ton of anime ones, but like I think too is like this only got a release in Asia. It didn't get a release anywhere else.
True.
So that probably would have impacted it too.
For sure.
Especially
like we saw.
Oh, go ahead.
No, continue.
I was gonna say, especially because at this point you have a real height, like early 2000s, real height in American consumption of anime. Initial D used to play on G4. In the U.S., G4 is a gaming channel. Wow. Initial D used to be on that channel, the anime.
Dang.
I remember I used to watch it.
No, I remember G4. That was dope.
I missed that. I miss that channel so much.
Good times.
Oh, gave us Olivia Munn, so.
Yeah, no, I was going to say is like, because we kind of saw that with like when we reviewed Lupin the Third. Like that movie. Yeah. It's just like, why didn't this take off? Like but then we realized, it's not like it was released in American studios, and it's kind of like goes back to our discussion that we had with Adrian when we talk about Dragon Ball Super Broly. It's like the reason like these movies need to get more international releases, and that's to say like if they can get international releases and not just be remade by American studios, is so that they can get the dollars, like the dollars to prove like, we can release this into the States and it'll get more popular and it can get made and it can become a franchise. Like, and I think like we've talked about like, because I thought Lupin the Third, that movie was great. Yeah. Like that deserves to have 7 sequels. Like, I mean, I know that's a lot, but like,
but they could do it. They could do it easily.
They could do it easily. There could be, because there's like 50 Lupin the Third animated movies, and you never have to do this whole explain who everybody is. because once you've done one, they all look the same.
Yeah.
You just get to do a different heist, bigger stakes, insert different new characters, have the same core cast. It just should have been that way. But like, we know that like it premiered at like a film festival in like LA, and it wasn't well received there, so they probably didn't bother trying to push for it to be released in the US theaters, because it would have been a small release here too. So that just goes to show like that's a whole other issue when it comes to like things from overseas. I think it's more like with like live action movies, and then this one, granted, was made in China, right?
Yeah.
This one was made in China, so it's like I can't think of how many movies that come from China or Japan, and they're not remakes when they come here. Like, because they're already talking about remaking Train to Busan, which is like, we can just re-release it. Don't remake it with an American cast. Just re-release it. But that's like how it works over here. It's like we don't get the original like live action adaptations of like these movies in the US theaters.
There was talk of doing an American remake of The Wailing, the Korean possession film, which is phenomenal. And I don't think it'll work, because the reason that movie is so different is because it's possession from the Korean lens, which is different than what we get here. And I don't think people understand that. I do genuinely want to say another idea for the podcast, for a podcast that I have, is looking at American adaptations of other people's horror movies, because there are a lot of them.
Yes.
And I love watching horror movies. There are a lot of them on Netflix.
We can have like a sub. We can have a sub sister of like Did You Have To? Ooh. And then like have it like be the horror.
You know what we could do? We could do like a Patreon or like a PayPal thing, and we could be like, hey, if we reach $10, we'll do like the adaptation of a video game. And like if we reach $25, like we could do with different adaptations. Because I know I've had multiple people ask us if we're going to do video game stuff. And talking about this, there was that terrible Aaron Paul movie that was Need for Speed.
Oh, I remember.
I never watched it.
Yeah, we don't have to get...
But...
we deserve money for that, so let's do that.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Oh, but to wrap things up, sorry guys. We're getting long-winded, but we're almost done. So what would you give this rating?
I mean, I'd probably give it like 2 drinks, because it wasn't that bad of an adaptation. The damn cuts were terrible in the directing of this movie. It was off. It's hard for me to watch such dated material.
Yes.
So that's the only reason. It wasn't horrible. Like it's a pretty good adaptation from what I remember, and just knowing what it does. 2. I'm gonna give it 2 drinks.
I'm gonna give it 5.
Okay.
For same reason. Yeah. For the same reasons. And it's just because like I had to stop the movie one night because I could not finish it. And I started it again the next night.
That's fair.
And then I finished it the following night.
That's fair.
But it was very much the datedness of the movie.
Yeah.
And the direction of the movie just made it so hard to watch. And again, I'll give them credit, because when you got a $12 million budget, I imagine that's still not, like, that's a lot of money, but, like, to do everything you gotta do, maybe that's not a lot of money. Yeah. Like, I don't know what goes into making a movie, but, like, I feel like $12 million, that's a small budget. Mm-hmm. Like, so, I'm impressed with, like, what you can do with it, but, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, so I say 5.
Yeah. And I said shit because Miss Bala was made on 14, and that was ass.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Thank you.
Very, very fair.
Alrighty. Thanks. So now it's the time for our closing words.
Yeah.
I always struggle.
Oh, yeah. Well, we need to tell people where they can find us first.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So if you're listening right now and you have not if you have not rated us or reviewed us on iTunes and you listen to us on iTunes, please do. It really, really helps out. And spread the word. Follow us on Twitter at DYHT_pod. Tell other people to follow us. Retweet our episodes. That's like the best thing you can do to help us out.
Yes.
Get the word out
and
there.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah. Tell people, hey, want to come listen to these two women who love anime and tall men talk about anime adaptations. Go listen to this. I think we're pretty funny and cool and fun, and I'm just going to give my handle now so we can close out this episode. You can follow me at OMRandrandier on Twitter.
And you can follow me at LA_NEY_SHA. That's at Lanisha. And yeah, all the things Kate said ×2, because we real. We don't sugarcoat here. And Crunchyroll, get at us. Yeah. Or Funimation. Whoever wants to pay us.
Or
give us anime.
Or Toei. Or
listen, if Toei hits us up, I got some words. We gotta talk. When am I getting more Broadly?
Oh yeah.
I needs it. I need more Broadly in Chile. So,
girl, you need a cosplay Chile already.
I should, but I don't have a white wig. I need to, as long as people are, I'll make enough excuses. I'm gonna figure it out. But I do.
I know you do what do you call it? Low maintenance cosplay. But if you're gonna do if you're ever gonna do one all out cosplay, girl, do Chile, because I think it would be perfect.
Maybe that's another little PayPal thing we can do is donate to the cosplay fund.
Chile fund. Do it.
Yes. Then we can just find me a big brolic looking man to be Broly.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
We know my type.
You need to find out if Big Nasty is gonna be at an appearance and dress up as Chile and take a picture with him.
I would die. Oh my god. And for those who don't know, Big Nasty is Florian Montanou. He is the fine-ass giant of a man who is 6'5", who fights the hell out of Michael B. Jordan. He towers over Michael B. Jordan.
He does. I'm who the hell let these guys get in a ring together? They are not the same weight class.
That is me and Carolyn talk about that in our movie review of this is a terrible storyline, but we're gonna let it rock because fine men hitting each other. Yes. Mm-hmm. Also, giant man hitting smaller also giant man. Y'all see I have a type. It's not a problem. I'm good. It's not a problem. Anyways. Will I ever stop thirsting after giant men? Will I ever put together a Chile cosplay? And will I finally be off of grounded duty? Find out next time on Did You Have To? Bye.
Bye.